You are sitting in the passenger seat of a car going 70 miles per hour down the highway. You open your phone, tap a video, and it plays perfectly in high definition. It feels entirely frictionless. It feels like you possess a single, unbroken tether to the internet, an invisible beam connecting your screen directly to the cloud, following you wherever you go. But that continuous tether is a complete illusion. The word wireless is essentially an engineering lie. Maintaining that smooth, buffering-free video on a moving vehicle requires a frantic, deeply physical, high-speed logistical operation happening all around you. Radio waves are governed by the same physical constraints as any other broadcast. At its core, your phone is a two-way radio, and its signal power follows the inverse square law, dropping exponentially the further it travels from your device. These waves are also surprisingly fragile. Rain easily absorbs them. They bounce off glass and are completely blocked by concrete, hills, and the Earth's curvature. If the system operated like a standard walkie-talkie, waiting for you to lose your signal before forcing your phone to search for a new one, your video would drop every 2 miles. Moving down the highway, you would drive out of the physical range of a radio signal in a matter of minutes. The entire illusion of a modern, mobile life would shatter. Decades ago, engineers realized they could not cover the world with one giant antenna. Instead, they had to chop the physical world up into a massive, invisible grid of overlapping geographic zones. These zones are called cells. At the center of every single one of these cells is a base station. This is the physical tower you see bolted to the sides of apartment buildings, or disguised as a fake pine tree on the side of the highway. But those antennas are at the very edge of the network. They are the reception desk. If you trace the thick, heavy cables down from those antennas, they run along the spine of the tower into a steel equipment cabinet at the base, and then they plunge directly into the dirt. The wireless internet is almost entirely wired. Underneath the asphalt and beneath the sidewalks, there is a sprawling physical circulatory system of fiber-optic cables. These cables are made of ultra-pure glass, carrying your data in the form of flashing laser light. Your YouTube video travels invisibly through the air for exactly 1 mile, hits the tower, and then spends the rest of its journey traveling through buried glass. But this massive grid of towers and buried cables creates a massive operational problem. If the world is chopped up into thousands of microscopic cells, how does the system know exactly which tower, out of millions on Earth, you happen to be standing near? To solve this, the network uses an invisible brain. Hidden deep inside your city is a heavily fortified concrete building called the Mobile Switching Center, or MSC. These are industrial-scale fortresses that require massive amounts of physical power and cooling. You can think of them as the air traffic control towers for the cellular grid. This bunker is where your phone meets the wider internet. The switching center pumps your localized cellular data into the continent-spanning internet backbone, the enormous undersea cables and transcontinental fiber routes that actually connect the globe. Every cell tower in a region is hardwired back to this building. Inside, humming servers maintain a constantly updating digital map of your life. Even when your phone is in your pocket doing absolutely nothing, it quietly checks in with the network every few minutes. The switching center logs your exact location, your trajectory, and your speed. Which brings us back to the car on the highway. You are watching your video connected to cell tower A. At 70 miles per hour, you are rapidly approaching the physical edge of that radio bubble. Every second, the signal gets weaker. The mobile switching center, miles away, is monitoring the exact degradation of your signal. The system knows you are about to drop. It also knows, based on your trajectory, that you are entering the territory of cell tower B. Before you lose the signal from tower A, the switching center commands tower B to reserve an empty radio channel specifically for your phone. It actively splits your data, sending a copy of your video stream down the underground fiber cables to both towers simultaneously. Your phone, traveling at highway speed, is told to listen for tower B. For a fraction of a millisecond, your device is communicating with 2 physical towers at the exact same time. It is a digital trapeze act. Your phone grabs onto the new radio frequency of tower B, verifies that the data is flowing, and only then does it let go of tower A. The switching center instantly severs the fiber-optic data stream to the old tower. This entire physical negotiation, the measuring of signal strength, the underground rerouting of lasers, and the switching of radio frequencies, happens in less time than it takes you to blink. You never see the buffer screen. On a busy stretch of highway, the switching center is executing these split-second handovers for thousands of different cars, streaming audio, mapping data, and making phone calls, all at the exact same time. And yet, highway speeds are actually the easy part. The true scale of this physical infrastructure reveals itself when pushed to its absolute breaking point. Imagine a major stadium hosting a concert or the Super Bowl. 80,000 people, all crammed into a few acres of physical space, all trying to upload high-definition video at the exact same moment. This creates a catastrophic physical bottleneck. It immediately overwhelms a standard tower's finite radio frequencies and backhaul pipeline. If 80,000 people suddenly scream at one tower, the system collapses. To prevent this, telecommunications companies deploy temporary, military-grade infrastructure. These massive diesel trucks carry telescoping towers called cell-on-wheels, and they are parked outside the stadium to artificially shrink the size of the cellular zones and increase backhaul capacity. Inside the stadium, engineers wire the physical architecture with a distributed antenna system. They hide hundreds of micro-antennas under the stadium seats, inside the handrails, and along the catwalks. They physically divide the stadium into dozens of microscopic radio zones. The people in Section 104 connect to an antenna completely different from the people in Section 105. When you walk from the concession stand back to your seat, your phone might execute 5 separate handovers, jumping between antennas spaced only 50 feet apart, purely to ensure the network doesn't physically buckle under the sheer density of the data. Then there is the problem of pure velocity. Take a bullet train moving at 200 miles per hour. At those speeds, a completely new physical problem emerges. Just like the pitch of an ambulance siren sounds higher as it approaches you and lower as it speeds away, radio waves are physically compressed and stretched by extreme speed. This is the Doppler effect. When your phone on a bullet train receives a signal from a tower ahead of you, the radio waves are smashed together. When you pass the tower, the waves are stretched out. If the system isn't perfectly calibrated, your phone literally cannot understand the data because the frequency is constantly shifting. To solve this, the software inside the mobile switching center runs complex mathematical equations in real time. It predicts and compensates for the Doppler shift based on your exact speed, actively warping the signal so it remains readable to the device in your hand. At 200 miles per hour, you are tearing through cellular zones so fast that a traditional handover is too slow. The network has to look miles down the track, reserving bandwidth on towers you haven't even reached yet, passing your connection down the line like a baton in a relay race, executing handovers every few seconds. We take this completely for granted. We view the internet as an ethereal cloud, a digital realm detached from the physical world. The next time you make a call from a moving train or stream music on a long drive, think about the machine underneath you. You are not tethered to a cloud. You are engaged in a frantic, high-speed logistical dance with the physical earth, being caught and released by the invisible hands of the system thousands of times a day, without ever feeling a thing.